A beautiful morning to you out there, and welcome to yet another exciting edition of Sport Personality right here on Atlantic Television Network. My name is Emmanuel Michael. Glad to be here this morning to take you through yet another scintillating and exciting edition of Sport Personality. And on today's edition of the show, we shall take a look at the special sport personnel, which is Virgil van Dijk. Because he became the first centre back to provide 3 assists in a single UEFA Champions League game. So we do well to take a look at his life and career and all that he has achieved in the world of football. But we'll do that after we come back from this short break. All right, you're welcome back from that short break. I'm not here alone this beautiful morning because I have my colleague and co-host right here with me, Kingsley Emmanuel. He joins me right here this morning. Kingsley, good morning and welcome to Sport Personality.
Yeah, Mike, thank you very much. Nice to be here this morning.
All right, nice to be here indeed. Let's get started as we talk about the life and career of Virgil van Dijk, who became the first centre back to provide 3 assists in a single UEFA Champions League game. As Van Dijk was born in Breda to a Dutch father, Ron van Dijk, in the Soremi's mother, Helen Chin, who is Afro-Suriname Chinese sister. The Chinese son name Chin Fu Zhu derives from the given name of his maternal great father, Chin Fu Xiu, who immigrated from Guangdong to Suriname around 1920. He has a younger brother rather, and a sister who are 2 and 10 years younger than him, respectively. Van Dyke grew up in Kesteren in the Higgs Bedem district of Beda. His father left the family when he was 11 years old. Van Dyke first lived with his father for a while before making a choice to go back to live with his mother, after which his father broke off a contract. Meanwhile, growing up, he played football wherever he could on the street, in concrete cages, and eventually Saturday morning matches. He started playing football in the youth team at WTC. So Kingsley, taking a look at the background of Viju Van Dyke, from all indication, he didn't come from that well-to-do family, and of course he was playing football for leisure and then also working at such a tender age. If you were Viju Van Dyke at that particular point in time, living with a family that your mother stays apart, your father apart, but then he was still able to achieve his dream, do you think Viju Van Dyke have that tough skin that enabled him to adapt to the situation around him?
Is it really a matter of tough skin? But I think the man was just being determined, to get something, at the end of the day. You could take a look at, of course, his background. He came from a very, very rough background, right? It takes a whole lot, for a child that do not grow under both parents, to be able to, of course, to be able to put up, something huge for so in a situation whereby a child do not grow under both parents, it becomes difficult for them to be able to achieve something sometimes. So it takes a lot of determination, all right, a whole lot of determination to, to that, to such a child to actually, be able to put up something huge, for his or herself, at the end of the day. I think that's the story of Viju Van Dyke. Stayed with the dad. After some time, he came back to stay with the mother, and decided, of course, to pursue football, playing street football, mostly Saturday football as well, before, of course, he now joined an academy. Even joining an academy, of course, he was able to even train in the academy, and as well also was doing a part-time job. It is always very difficult. It's to combine job and football. You will find it difficult to be able to go through. I've been with footballers, all right, who have actually played football and then trying to combine it with a part-time job, all right. It is always very draining. Whenever you leave training for 2, 3, 4, 5 days, and you say you're going to work or you're going for business or whatever, when you come back, you will know that your level of fitness will drop. That's the thing. Your level of fitness will drop. So for you to combine your job and your football career at that time, for Viju Van Dyke, I think it was a very huge level of determination. No matter what, of course, that came his way at that moment. I think what I saw is the fact that the young man was ready, of course, to maneuver, everything, and being able, of course, to put up, something huge, for himself. He came from a background that you won't even expect that he will be the Viju Van Dyke, of course, who know today. And it's a very huge message, to so many persons, all right? No matter the background you're from or the background you're coming from, don't allow anything to limit you, all right? Even though your parents do not really give you the necessary attention or probably might not support your dream, but in as much as you're convinced to say, this is what I want to do in life, this is the direction I want to go, you have to focus and make sure, of course, you get what you want, no matter how difficult it is. And I think for me, that's the story of Viju Van Dyke. while growing up.
All right, of course, he combined his, footballing career while growing with Welling too, and also, washing some dishes at different restaurants just to make an ends meet, while also, pursuing what seems to be a very blood football career. All right, having previously and unsuccessfully featured as a right back, Virgil van Dijk was shifted into a central defensive position in 2008, aged 17 years after he grew in height by around 18 centimeters. Despite positional shift and Van Dijk's physical growth, Willem II's reserve manager at the time, Edwin Hemmans, believed he had too many limitations, which prevented him from breaking into the first team. The club, therefore, did not want to offer him a contract. He left for Groningen at the age of 19 in 2010 on a free transfer after being scouted by former Dutch international Martin Koeman, who was working for Groningen at the time. All right, moving on to his proper, football career. Virgil van Dijk is widely regarded as one of the best defenders of his generation and in Premier League history, known for his commanding presence, speed, aerial ability, and leadership qualities. His career is defined by his transformative impact at Liverpool, where he secured major silverware after establishing himself in the Netherlands and Scottish League. FC Groningen, where he moved in 2011-2013. He began his senior career in his native land, debuting in May 2011. Of course, made several impacts as he developed into a key player, making 62 appearances and scoring 7 goals, overcoming adversity as well because he suffered a serious health scare involving appendicitis and a kidney infection that required emergency surgery in 2012. Kingsley, you saw how he moved from Welling down to Groningen. He's a club out there in his country, talking about the Dutch league. But then, despite encountering some difficulties, he was still able to put up a very impressive display. 62 games, 7 goals, and was very pivotal in Groningen for 2011-2012 season.
Yeah, definitely. I think for me it was a very good, progression, for the man. Looking at how, of course, he has been able to battle his way all down, of course, to Groningen. I think it was a time he wanted to really, of course, improve on himself. It was a time he really wanted to step up his game, despite the difficulties, despite, of course, the setback, he experienced, while growing up and even joining the academy. His coach, of course, did not really even believe in him, talking about, some level of limitation. But I think at Groningen, he really wanted to prove to his manager that, of course, he's really, up to task, all right? It's always, sometimes when you talk about the defensive role, you need a lot of energy, a lot of, brilliance to be able to showcase yourself as one of the best, defenders. Most of the time, defenders are not really, pay much attention to the more, football lovers or maybe coaches sometimes, pay much attention to, the strikers, the midfielders. So for you to be able to distinguish yourself, as a defender, it means you've really, really done well. It means you have what it takes, of course, to be able to, put up a very impressive, especially the role he plays as a central defensive midfielder. All right, that is a very, very key role that coaches take very serious. You can't just have anybody, in that particular role. All right, so I think at Groningen he wanted to, of course, prove himself. That's why he was able, of course, to feature for them for about 62 games, and as well, not just that, he was able to score about 7 goals. It was a very high level of for him, and let me say a stepping stone, for him to, of course, achieve greater things, which, of course, we've seen today.
All right, moving on, after he left, of course, Groningen, he moved to Celtic in 2013-2015. That move to Scotland for was approximately 2.6 million pounds, and also he had some achievement as he won 2 consecutive Scottish Premiership title in 2013-2014 and 2014-2015, and the Scottish League Cup as well. He had some individual recognition during that very period because he was named the PFA Scotland Team of the Year in both of his seasons. And then on, he moved on to Southampton, that is the English Premier League in 2015 as a then. Now, when he arrived at Southampton, the reported fee was about £13 million, and he quickly adapted to the league as well. Named Southampton's Player of the Year in his first season, and later became the club's captain. And from there on, he moved to Liverpool. After attracting heavy interest from top clubs out there in Europe, he completed a deal of a £75 million move to Anfield in January 2018. Then a world record fee for a defender, So after Southampton, exploit, he did pretty well in 2015 there, and of course, he was also given the captain armband at that very young age. And he made a record of a British transfer at that time, if you could remember. £75 million for a defender was massive as at then. You think this player has that real belief in himself, after the struggle at the initial time where even the, manager of Wellington couldn't even have the faith in him, but then he moved to Celtic, proved his worth out there, coming down to Southampton, relatively unknown club, but then very effective in producing some of, great names. The likes of Sadio Mane, came via that Southampton. And eventually, there were players that were older than him then, but then he was made the captain. I could remember that particular, day where the coach actually entrusted him with the duty. So despite the challenges, he had that self-belief and continued to work hard, and eventually the quality showed off when he was made the captain of the team.
Yeah, it's all about resilience, and tenacity. That's what, of course, we saw from Virgil van Dijk. I think his game started stepping up when he was at Groningen. Despite the health issues, he was still able, of course, to put up some high level of performance. Heading down to Celtic, was a very huge one, of course, for him, because that was where he was able to stabilize and be able, of course, to grow more, in his defensive, skill down there. Won some couple of accolades as well. Moved down to Southampton. Of course, before a Premier League team will come for you in such a position, it means you're really worth it, at the end of the day. And for me, I think it really pays off, for Southampton as well, taking a look at its impressive progress, of course, with them. And for me, I think it's actually a story of resilience and tenacity. Virgil van Dijk, looking at how he started, all right, did not allow some of these things, to limit him, even when, of course, he was actually not being, found of actually being fancied by the coach at some points, but he still kept on to believe that I can do it. Sometimes in your journey to stardom, to say some kind of things you encounter, they might stand as a discouragement to you, like what the coach, of course, actually did. That would have probably at some point, if it were to be some person, demoralize them, discourage them, and they might even say they don't even want to play football again. That they don't even want, that the coach did not even find anything good in them. But he was still able to still push down to Groningen, down to Celtic, before he came down, of course, to Southampton. So for me, I think it's a story of determination. One man who actually saw the future, and of course was able to fight for it and know that this is where I'm going to be, at the end of the day. And truly, you could see Virgil van Dijk today. If you mention 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 defenders in the world currently, Virgil van Dijk, of course, must be there. So I think for me, it's actually a story of resilience and having that sense of confidence that of course I can get to where I want to get to no matter the obstacles.
And of course, he made immediate impact at Liverpool after moving from Southampton. He transformed the Liverpool defense, helping them reach the UEFA Champions League final in his first few months in 2018, before he went on to lift the UEFA Champions League, yes, as well. Kingsley, just a few months after that move to Liverpool, he led them to the UEFA Champions League final. And I know you can still remember that particular game where Sergio Ramos had to, of course, take out Mo Salah just to ensure that they won that very one. It was very painful, but then they never gave up. Eventually, they won the UEFA Champions League, won the Club World Cup, and built a very solid team around Virgil van Dijk within the defensive lineup for Liverpool. What is that special thing that you can remember about Virgil van Dijk in that UEFA Champions League final?
For me, I think in that final, the man was very rugged, of course, in the defense. He was very, very prolific and also gingering, of course, his players. And was very good up front, down there, and not allowing, of course, the Real Madrid, strikers to really have that, much, chance, as a stand. His presence in the defense alone, I tell you, was a very, very huge inspiration, to the team. The way he commanded his teammates and the way, of course, he was able to mount the defense, of course, I think was one thing I saw in him on that day that was very, very inspirational. I think for me that was what, of course, really helped them. His brilliance as well also really helped them to be able to achieve that one ahead of Madrid.
And of course, moving on Wednesday, 28th January 2025, UEFA Champions League against Karabag. Virgil van Dijk provided 3 assists in Liverpool's 3-0 thumping of Karabag as he became the first centre-back in UEFA Champions League history to provide a hat-trick of an assist in a single match. This is very remarkable. A central back providing 3 assists. Never has it happened in the history of a UEFA Champions League before. This is certainly going to live the test of time.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's one unique quality of Virgil van Dijk. He's a centre back, but he's a centre back that do not really stay in the 18-yard box every time you're in the 18-yard box. He comes out to also participate in corners. He also put up assists, for goals as well. That is one unique thing about him, and you can't take away his strength of overlapping and falling back, of course, to guide, the goalkeeper, and all of that. That is one unique thing, of course, you tend to find, in a very good, defender. And for me, I think that has really, of course, keep him up there, when it comes to his pairs, at this point in time. So. Yes, you will see a very impressive record for the man, talking about his level of assists, and all of that. Yes, it's actually something very good. Sometimes defenders find it difficult to even overlap because they know that, especially when you're a centre back, you find it difficult to overlap because when you do so, the goal post and the goalkeeper might be in danger if there is any counter attack, immediately to say at this point in time. But Virgil van Dijk is that one man who will boldly come to contest for corner and then still fall back, to the defense. So that's one of the best things, of course, you've seen so far, from the man and his level of assist, as it stands. So very unique. The man has done a whole lot, of course, for himself. I think at some point he was even nominated for the Ballon d'Or award. It's been a long time, of course, we saw a defender being nominated for the Ballon d'Or award. I think the last time a defender won the Ballon d'Or was around, I think, 2009, which was, I think, Cannavaro at some points. And Virgil van Dijk was almost close at some point in his career. That should tell you that the man has really, really, of course, improved, and is one man that you can rely on, at any point in time. Take a look at the success of Liverpool as a team in the last 4 seasons. You cannot take Virgil van Dijk out of it. He was instrumental during the time of Jurgen Klopp. Currently, even in the time of what's the name of the current coach at this point in time? What's the name of this man? Ancelotti as well. So for me, I think if you want to look at it, if you in the last 7 seasons, you cannot talk about Liverpool without Virgil van Dijk, and that's what, of course, has really, really made him, so special.
very special defender in Virgil van Dijk, the first centre-back in the history of the UEFA Champions League to provide a hat-trick of an assist in a single UEFA Champions League game, and that is to tell you his attacking prowess. He often pops up, yes, to the centre box, and of course to contest. He has scored a couple of goals as well, provided a key assist in key moments for Liverpool. Away from that, let's talk about his international career, because at youth career, on 12th of May 2010, Virgil van Dijk made his debut for Netherlands under-19 in a friendly against South Korea under-19. Then on the 14th of November 2011, Virgil van Dijk made his debut for the Netherlands under-20 in qualifying match against Scotland under-21 and played a further 2 friendlies for the team. Moving on to the senior career, Van Dijk was selected for Netherlands senior squad 3 times in 2014, but did not make his debut until October 10th, 2015, when Netherlands were beat Kazakhstan 2-1 in UEFA Euros 2016 qualifier. 3 days later, he played in a 3-2 home loss to Czech Republic, which ensured the Netherlands would not qualify for UEFA Euro 2016. He played 6 of the Netherlands' 10 matches in their unsuccessful 2018 FIFA World Cup qualification campaign. Van Dijk was awarded the captaincy of his country by manager Ronald Koeman on 22nd of March 2018, leading the team for the first time in their 1-0 home friendly defeat by England the next day. On 26th of March, he scored his first international goal to conclude a 3-0 win over European champions Portugal at the Stade de Geneva. On 13th of October, he scored in a 3-0 win over Germany in the group stage of 2018-2019 UEFA Nations League. On the 19th of November, he scored a 91st minute equalizing goal in a 2-2 draw away to same opposition to qualify Netherlands from their Nations League group. In June 2019, Virgil van Dijk captained the Netherlands at the 2019 UEFA Nations final, where they finished as a runner-up after being beaten 1-0 by host nation Portugal in the final on 9th of June. In May 2021, Virgil van Dijk ruled himself out of playing in a postponed UEFA Euro 2020 to have enough time to recover after a long time injury since October 2020. In November 2022, Virgil van Dijk was announced as Dutch captain for the 2002 FIFA World Cup. He led his team to top of Group A with wins over Senegal and host Qatar. In the quarter-final match against Argentina, Virgil van Dijk took the first free kick of the tie, breaking penalty shootout, which was saved by Argentine goalkeeper Emiliano Martinez as the Dutch were beaten 4-3 in Lusail. On 17th of November 2005, he captained the national team for the 72nd time in 4-0 win over Lithuania in their final 2026 World Cup qualifying match, surpassing Frank de Boer's previous record. So Kingsley, we take a look at the roles that he has played for even the national team. He's a pivotal figure for the national team as well, scoring vital goals, and that leadership quality still remain, as he has been able to, of course, lead the team. But during his time as the Netherlands captain, do you think that he has been able to lead the team successfully?
Talking about leadership, I think for Virgil van Dijk, he's a leader, all right? He's a leader. You talk about leadership qualities, he has it. I think for me, when it comes to leadership in the team, he has done that perfectly. But has he been able to lead the team to win majors, to win laurels? That's another thing, of course, you look at now at this point in time. Since, of course, he made his debut with, I think, the under-19, that was around 2010 or thereabouts. The man has, of course, tried his best, but going down to the senior team, I think he has not really proven himself, when it comes to winning titles. But when it comes to display, having a very impressive performance on the pitch, yes, he has done that. But what about the titles? What about the accolades? These are things that, of course, we want to look at. I think they were somehow very close. He actually led the Netherlands side, to the UEFA Nations League. That was around 2019, where I think they were beaten by Portugal, in that one. If he had won that one, at least that would have been something very huge, for him. Also saw him in the 2000, I think, is it the 2018 or 2019 World Cup, of course. We saw his brilliance, down there. We talk about leadership. Yes, he has been able to put up that leadership, but it's for him to, of course, progress in terms of winning something very huge, of course, for the Netherlands, side. That's actually, of course, what we expect, from me as a captain of a team. It would be very nice to see, during my days, as captain of Netherlands, I want to, titles for them, and all of that. That would really, speak volume for him. And I think if you take a look at his career, the only place he's having a little bit of lapses as the national team achievements. He has not really, achieved so much, with the Netherlands. And I just hope that maybe the World Cup that comes up, Netherlands, of course, will have to prove themselves. Maybe you can also attribute it to the fact that, Netherlands did not, of course, be the team we used to know before, around 2008, 2009, where you have a certain Ajaruben, of course, in that team that was very, very prolific. If you could remember Netherlands in the 2010 World Cup against Spain final, you could know that, yes, they were a very, very solid side. But, the team have to progress to the days of Virgil van Dijk. So it's another leadership, at this point in time. And there's a whole lot, expected, from them, as it stands. And it's in the shoulders of Virgil van Dijk, the captain of the side. You should be able to prove yourself. And we'll wait to see, what comes up for him. But when you talk about national team achievement, he hasn't really done much. But you talk about the club side, he has, of course, been very, very impressive. I think there's still some time for him with the national team. He's 30. I think he should be over 30 now at this point in time. So we'll just look forward to see what comes up for Virgil van Dijk when it has to do with the national team before he retires.
Still talking about still having some couple of time with the national team of Netherlands. At 34, you think he can still win any major laurel for the national team?
Of course, I think he can. The World Cup is just by the corner, all right? He might take this probably as an opportunity to see what, of course, he can do. At 34, of course, you should be talking about winding down, especially with the national team. Virgil van Dijk, even at 34, is still prolific in defense. All right, so if the team, Netherlands team, are able to put up a very impressive performance, I think they could possibly go far. You never can tell; anything can happen. They might win the World Cup if, of course, they put up much, level of preparation and be resilient, about it. We understand it's not going to be easy. We have the likes of Argentina, we have the likes of Spain. All right, Portugal will be there, Brazil. So you take a look at these teams coming up. It's not going to be easy, but anything can happen. If Virgil van Dijk knows that, okay, this could possibly be his last dance with the national team, then I think he'll want to maybe do everything to get the job done. So let's just see. Age is just a number. We'll see what the body can do on the pitch of play, maybe, in the next World Cup.
Talking about what the body can do in the next World Cup, okay, you try to mention some of the key players, call them the generational period of players of the Netherlands, likes of Arjen Robben, Jan Klaas Huntelaar, Wesley Sneijder, name them, Edgar Davies. These are players during their time with the national team of the Netherlands. They were regarded as the golden generation, but then they never won anything tangible. Now we are seeing a new set of, Virgil van Dijk, Memphis Depay, Frankie de Jong. So if you compare and contrast that golden generation of Netherlands and this particular squad, you think that they can help Virgil van Dijk fulfill his long-time dream?
And that's a very big question, Mike, because the days of Ajaru, Ben Snyder, if you take that particular team, it's better than what we're seeing today.
True.
Better than what we're seeing today. So that's why I'm a bit afraid. All right, Van Dijk might just maybe end his national team career without, winning something very huge, of course, for them, because it's really, of course, a big tight one. I think even in the last World Cup, they managed to reach, was it the quarterfinal or something? So for me, it just boils down to how prepared, of course, they will be this time around. If they can come up with their A game and try to put up, something huge, I think they can contest, with any team that might come their way. Is you have to be the best if you want. You have to beat the best if you want to be the best, at the end of the day. So I believe they should have back, at the back of their mind, the golden generation has come and gone. It is then time for them to be able to live up to expectation. Van Dijk, of course, know what is at stake for him. When they say, oh, you did so and so with your club side, you won the Champions League, nominated for Ballon d'Or, won the Super Cup. So what did you want for your national team? What did you bring back home? It's always something to look at for, at the end of the day. Today, we're talking about, sometimes we make reference to JJ Okocha. He played everything he played. But at the end of the day, in Ballon d'Or, some other major titles as well. Sometimes when that discussion comes, even JJ himself will sit down and think about it.
True.
So for me, I think for Virgil van Dijk, let us see what comes out. At 34, we still believe, of course, maybe he can just fight for the very last time for the Netherlands.
At 34, maybe this year's World Cup might just be the last dance for Virgil van Dijk. But then let's take a look at some of the honors that he has won as a player. Right from his time at Celtic, he won the Scottish Premiership in 2013/2014. He also won the same title in 2014/2015. Scottish League Cup as well in 2014/2015 with Liverpool. He has won the English Premier League in 2019/2020. That is the COVID era. Many of you can still remember that very era. In 2024/2025, Liverpool also won it. And of course, the FA Cup in 2021 and 2022. Virgil van Dijk also won the EFL Cup in 2021/2022. Runner-up as well in 2023 and 2024. He won the Community Shield as well in 2022. And the UEFA Champions League, the Holy Grail, in 2018/2019, runner-up in 2017/2018, and 2021/2022. The UEFA Super Cup, he won that in 2019. FIFA Club World Cup, he won that in 2019 as well. All right, massive achievement when you talk about individual honor, but all this is coming from, the club side and not a national side. Some refer to Messi today as the greatest of all time. Why? Because he's been able to win the World Cup. He won everything that had been needed. He needed to win in the world of football, the club side, but never won the World Cup. So that national team honor, title is key.
It's very important, Mike. You just made mention of Messi. I think when it comes to achievements, Messi is the most complete player. When it comes to achievements, club side and national team wise, the man is very, very complete. All right. So for me, I think from what it is, Virgil van Dijk should just try as much as he can to see if he can win something. He has won so many things for the club side, for the clubs he has played for, and now it's time for him to see if he can get something from the national team. And I think for me, it's then time. You talk about the likes of the greats we talk about today, Maradona, you talk about Pelé. These are people that didn't take the national team competitions for granted. They do everything to win for the national team, all right? Talk about Pelé today. We saw what he did, of course, on his club side and the national team, Maradona as well. Now, we're talking about Messi, who has won everything and even won the World Cup for Argentina. And that's why when you talk about even the Messi and Ronaldo debates, I don't think that's even, because if you look at it, Messi is a more complete player when it comes to achievement.
True.
Ronaldo, yes, he has won the, what's the name, UEFA Nations League. Has he won the World Cup? The World Cup for me, I think, is the peak.
True.
You win the World Cup, and you've achieved a whole lot, win the Champions League, won the Ballon d'Or several occasions. For me, when it comes to this debate, I think people should just rest it and give it to Messi. For Van Dijk, I think it's left for him to see what he could do, so that, of course, when discussions like this come up, his name, of course, will be in the good books, you know, at the end of the day.
Good books at the end of the day. Can Virgil van Dijk inks his name in the annal of Netherlands football by leading them to the World Cup this year? Only time will tell. But then, before we leave, let's tell you that the net worth of Virgil van Dijk is public, because Virgil van Dijk net worth is estimated to be around $50 million accumulated from his lucrative football contracts, endorsements, and business ventures. His current annual salary is worth £18.2 million. That is about $54.5 million, with a weekly wage of £350,000. Massive, massive. Time might not just permit us to go through the gamut and explore other options of the life and career of Virgil van Dijk, but we believe you've been able to, enjoy this very segment. Kingsley, before we leave, any final word?
Yeah, we just wish Virgil van Dijk, the very best. We understand Liverpool. They've been very impressive. Somehow we understand maybe winning the league might be very difficult for them, taking a look at their lapses, but I think they still stand a huge chance in the domestic cup as well as the Champions League. So we'll see what Virgil van Dijk, of course, will bring to the table this season. All
right, at this point, this is where we'll drop the anchor. Many thanks for you out there watching. I'll make a return yet again next Saturday with yet another special sport personality. I did a show alongside Kingsley Emmanuel. My name is Emmanuel Mike, and we are saying have a nice weekend ahead.